ever looked at the food on your plate and just wondered, where did it really come from? Well, today we're going on that exact journey. We're going to follow a single tiny seed from a patch of dirt all the way to your dinner table. It's an incredible story of hard work, ancient tradition, and some seriously cool technology. I mean, really think about it. You can hold one in your hand. It seems so small, so insignificant, right? But inside that tiny shell, there is just this incredible locked up potential. And that's the absolute magic of it. That one seed, when you multiply it by millions, becomes the foundation of, well, everything we eat. It's the very start of our global food supply. So how on earth does that little seed make such a huge leap? Let's dive in. Okay, before we get going, let's get one key idea straight. What makes something a crop? See, it's not just about planting a few plants in your garden. The magic word here is scale. We're talking about growing the same thing in one place on a massive level. That's what turns a hobby into the kind of agriculture that can feed billions of people. So our seed's journey actually begins long before it even touches the earth. The very first stage is all about creating the perfect home for it to grow. And trust me, this is way more than just digging in the dirt. It is the absolute foundation for everything that comes next. So here's the roadmap for our journey, broken down into 4 key stages. First, we've got to prepare the soil. Second, we'll sow the seed. Then comes the long part, nurturing the plant as it grows. And finally, the big payoff, harvesting the results. You might think, okay, it's just dirt. But why do farmers spend so much time and energy just turning the soil over and over? What's really the big deal? What is going on beneath the surface that makes this step so crucial? Well, turns out it's a huge deal. Tilling and plowing do a few amazing things. First, it loosens up the soil so the roots can dig down deep and get a strong grip. It also lets those roots breathe. Believe it or not, they need air. This process also creates a great environment for all the friendly microbes and earthworms down there. And this is a big one. It brings all that good, nutrient-rich soil from below right up to the top, ready for the seed. And talk about an upgrade. For literally thousands of years, this was backbreaking work done with a wooden plow and a couple of bowls. It was slow, it was laborious, you get the picture. Fast forward to today, and a single person in a tractor can do the same work in a fraction of the time. It's just a total game changer in terms of labor and efficiency. All right, the field is perfectly prepped, the stage is set. Now it's time for step 2. Which might just be the most hopeful and optimistic part of this whole process, planting the seed. But wait, you can't just grab any old seed and toss it in the ground. The success of the entire harvest hinges on starting with high-quality, healthy seeds. So how do you tell the good ones from the bad ones? You'd think there'd be some complex, high-tech scanner for this, right? Nope. One of the oldest and best methods is brilliantly simple. You just put them in water. You see, damaged seeds are often hollow or lightweight, so they float. But the good, healthy, dense seeds, they sink right to the bottom. It's a fantastic low-tech trick to ensure you're starting off on the right foot. And just like with plowing, the technology for planting has taken a giant leap. The old way, using a tool that's basically a funnel, was pretty hit or miss. You'd get seeds too close together, some too deep, some too shallow. But the modern seed drill, it's a marvel of precision. It plants every seed at the exact same depth and distance apart, which is perfect. And as a bonus, it covers them right up, protecting them from hungry birds. So the seeds are in the ground, but the work is far from over. In fact, now we enter the longest and maybe the most demanding stage of the whole journey, nurturing that tiny sprout into a big, strong, healthy plant. This takes months. Think about the soil like a bank account. Every time you grow a crop, the plants make a withdrawal of nutrients. If you just keep taking, eventually the account dries up. So you have to make deposits. And that's exactly what manure and fertilizers do. They put those essential nutrients back into the soil so it can stay healthy and productive. Now, there are 2 main ways to do this. You've got man-made fertilizers, which are like a super concentrated shot of specific nutrients. Things like nitrogen and phosphorus. They give a huge immediate boost. On the other hand, you've got natural manure. It's not as packed with nutrients, but it does something amazing for the soil itself. It improves its texture and helps it hold water, building health for the long term. So it's often a choice between a quick win and long-term soil sustainability. And of course, there's one thing no plant on Earth can live without: water. I mean, plants are almost 90% water themselves. So getting water to the crops consistently and reliably is absolutely non-negotiable. That's what we call irrigation. For centuries, people came up with all sorts of clever muscle-powered ways to do this. You had pulley systems, chain pumps, lever systems, all ingenious for their time. But they had one big problem. They were super inefficient. A ton of that precious water was lost to evaporation before it ever even reached the plants. Today, it's all about working smarter. Modern systems use water way more economically. Sprinklers are great. They create a kind of artificial rain that can cover a lot of ground. But the gold standard for efficiency, that's the drip system. It delivers water one drop at a time right to the base of the plant, right where the roots are. Practically nothing is wasted, which is a huge deal in a world where every drop counts. Now, every hero's journey has a villain, and for our growing crop, the villain is weeds. These unwanted plants are ruthless competitors. They pop up and start stealing all the good stuff: the water, the nutrients, the sunlight, even the physical space that our crops need to thrive. Fighting them off is just a constant battle for farmers. Okay, deep breath. After months of preparing, planting, watering, and fighting off weeds, we finally reach the moment everyone's been waiting for, the climax of our story. All that hard work, all that patience is about to pay off. It is time for the harvest. The harvest is really a two-step process. First comes the harvesting part, which is pretty straightforward. It's the cutting of the mature crop. But then you have to separate the part you actually want, the grain, from all the other stuff like the stalk and the husk, which is called the chaff. That separation process, that's called threshing. But wait, we're not quite done. Getting the grain is one thing, but keeping it is another. All that beautiful grain is worthless if it goes bad. So the final critical step is storage. First, the grain has to be properly dried. Then it's stored somewhere safe, protected from moisture, insects, rats, you name it. Whether it's in a simple bag or a giant silo, this step is what turns a one-time harvest into a year-round food supply. And you can just imagine the feeling of seeing it all come together. There's this great quote that I think captures it perfectly. The sight of golden fields of standing crop laden with grain fills the hearts of farmers with joy and a sense of well-being. It's that beautiful moment where all the risk and hard work finally materializes. So there you have it, from a single tiny seed to a silo full of grain. The ancient journey is complete. It's a process that's both as old as civilization and as new as the latest tractor, which kind of leaves us with a big question, doesn't it? As we face new challenges like a changing climate and more people to feed, how will technology continue to shape this most essential of human journeys?
Thanks for watching. Support us with a like, share, comment, and subscribe. Access more resources anytime on our website or app.